Everyone, hope you're doing well. This video is recorded in the Society Hotel, really wonderful establishment located in the Columbia River Gorge. The original was in Portland, Oregon, USA. Yeah, have to, and the background noise will flow with it, right? So the point of this video is actually to speak into my foundations program, it's it's done either online or in person. And this program is really for someone who's interested in working on their health, or there's a particular goal that they have in life that they're wanting to some form of accountability, but they just haven't quite reached that they haven't found the method to really get guaranteed success where it is they want to go. And maybe it's just there's so much going on that you haven't really been able to give it a consistent focus, or you're just like most of us and we're inherently lazy, and it's hard for us to hold that for ourselves, and we really need someone else to kind of like consistently prod us and help us remember what we said, and really give extra energy and belief to that to that goal that we've chosen. It could be, they say, well, a good friend can do this for you, a good partner can do this for you. And I think that is true. And there's a place where everyone's got their own enmeshed motivations. They're not always seeing you objectively, right? But they may not be able to provide you that level of professional focused attention that you really need to go from point A to point B, without getting caught in these swirls, which may be partly you or just the enmeshments of the community you're in, where other people have these patterns and you're getting caught up into that. Anyways, so what is this program? It's a mixture of health coaching, which is really taking a 360-degree view of your life and isolating, what are the most important things that not only for your health and the optimal function of the mind and the body, but also the things that you need to get from point A to point B. And oftentimes it is like, we don't have the information, we don't have the skill, something's a little bit off, right? So why are we here now? Well, I created this 3-month program. Typically, with any sort of life change, it takes at least, say, it takes 1 day to change the mind, 30 days to change the mental emotional patterning. And it's really the neural circuitry, right? And then 90 days to change to change the biorhythms. So these are actually the hormones that are in the blood, and the body has its own rhythms and its patterns, and those are kind of the deeper things that we got used to that maybe they're not serving us, but it's so rooted in our body that we that is really hard to change. We're almost like physically attached to what was. Um, and this kind of stuff can come from our parents, the way our parents related to themselves, or the beliefs they had, maybe like the beliefs about money or success, whether one should have a stable, secure job or be an entrepreneur. Um, all of this can actually become biologically encoded, and we don't necessarily know it's where it's coming from, you know, until we start to try and change. And there's all this resistance physically that we feel, and it's much more comfortable. It feels more like home to indulge the, oh, whatever it is that's going to bring us back in that sense of familiarity. And that's where it gets really tough. It's like you gotta, you know, pick a, notice, and then choose differently and make that a habit. And that's really, if you notice you're in that place and nothing's really changing, like that's where this kind of program can come in. Um, I think we talked about this, the first appointment, we really take a look at the whole picture. Um, you get really precise on what's going on. And maybe, it might be good. I think maybe I should say a little bit more about me before we get into this. So, I've been studying health sciences for 14 years. Um, and I studied Chinese medicine, not just 6 years in medical school, but 4 years before that, studying Tai Chi and medical Qigong. Sort of some of my teachers is probably even more impressive than, I mean, I have amazing Chinese medicine methods, but it's this guy, Michael, is a trained doctor. The way he is with the students, and the sheer kind of wisdom. And when I say wisdom, I mean it's like that knowledge that's constantly relevant to, you know, as close to 100% of the situations that any human being might experience. Uh, and it takes a lot of time and a lot of contemplation to really get there, right? This he's got it, and he knows how to communicate it in very Taoist 108 different ways to really connect with everyone. Um, so I've learned, I've really still in his presence. I professionally, I've spent most of my energy teaching, designing curriculum. Found early on I was passionate about how mindset, nutrition, movement, what are the most important things for a person to feel well. So I dived into the Western research, and I spent the last 6 years kind of questioning that and refining it and honing it, mostly in clinical settings, which is actually really good for you. That's why I'm able to offer really competitive rates, because I'm still building my testimonial network outside of what was kind of in a very clinical environment, where I still was able to work with people over a course of years and see these step-by-step changes, and many just very quickly within a month or less. But always, always with more to learn, right? Yeah, I think the main thing is I like to have fun. I think when we're making progress, when we have a method, when we're in a flow, things are just fun, truly enjoyable. Um, It's pretty awesome teachers, healers, business leaders. David, he's the owner of a massive clinic in Portland, and the president of the Institute of Bioelement Acupuncture. Which, I mean, everyone has their own unique approach, but I think that approach is closest to the essence of what it means to be human. Like it really, there's something there, and I think it captures, how do we I mean, all of acupuncture, it's a map of the human experience, encoded in the body, right? And so by working with the body, you can help people in a very precise way. Like, let's say they're having a midlife crisis related to uh, their relationship uh, with their spouse. Let's say um, they never really learned who they were, and they're still trying to sort that out. Well, it's not always so simple, but there is a whole channel related to intimate relationship. And then there's a point within that that's really about the intimate relationship with yourself, and then building a foundation with that. And then within that, doing the work of maintaining that self foundation. And then others. So it's like, okay, that's in the system as these spiritual teachings process that we all, going through, right? Um, so yeah, my point being is when you work with me, it's not just your typical health coach, and it's why I think this is such a good deal. Um, I know we haven't gotten into what the deal is yet, but we have access to all of these teachings, and also very integrative system. Jeffrey Yun was a Taoist priest, his teacher, and again, this is a map of the human journey onto the body. And it's quite profound. And then all the training I did with Michael and Phoenix, and then another David, lots of Davids, right? Was into really the science of biomechanics. How do you work with the body in a way that optimizes the posture? It's like I was just talking to someone, if your shoulders up and your arms glued to the side of your body, there's not a lot of flow there. But if we just like relax the shoulder, open up the elbow, um, lightly open up the hands, all of a sudden everything feels lighter. And actually, there's maybe even more gravity there, and there's more of a stretch. So it should feel like more effort, right? But it's not actually. It just feels good. It's like things are getting where they need to go. What's not needed is leaving, and what's good is actually having the space to come in. Right? So okay. So that's a little bit what I've done. I guess the important thing to mention is with the Tai Chi, there's a very clear progression of this is the most important thing. And once you master that, now we're moving on to this movement principle. And once you master that, we're moving into this movement principle. And that same kind of specificity applies to every field of knowledge. Like take nutrition, and okay, we're working on these building blocks, these macronutrients, and then you get more specific, we're working on whatever we're working on, all the micronutrients, diversity in the diet. But it's like when things are right, it should taste good and it should feel good, right? These are simple things. Nutritious, delicious, simple, right? Um, so I've done that with a number of fields. Psychology, that's my first degree. Of course, we can come back to it in Chinese medicine. Chinese medicine has its own psychology. Um, and I've written a lot about coffee, caffeine. We can definitely dive into that if that's something you're interested in exploring, just to be more um, music, sound healing. It's also something I do. Still a novice, maybe, but you may have found me through my album, so that's the thing. So good. So let's talk about this foundations program. I think we established either you're working on something, you're in anytime you like if you have to leave this video for any reason or you want to think about it and come back, just go to whooshandwell.com and then click on the therapeutic process. That's really our orientation page for this foundations program. Which again, it's for anyone who is not well and wants to get well, wants a basic skill set to help them stay well, right? Or for somebody who's they kind of know what they need, but they haven't been able to get there on their own. And they really need that extra accountability to like, all right, keep me in the fireplace, right? So that this transformation can take place. I guess the third is someone who just wants to who's really interested in like this integrative medicine, so Eastern and Western, and really the simple truth that's in between. And this is more of a health leadership process. It's like, how do you become really grounded in what actually matters? And that could be for any healthcare provider, or anyone who just wants to, one, become a leader of themselves, but then later actually when you master that, it's hard not to be a leader in the healthcare profession. So good. So let's go jump right on in. So this is our model of what we look at. It's based on the Wuxing or the 5 elements. That's why we call Wuxing wellness. And we can see, not only do we have the liver, which is really about energy, smooth energy circulation in the body, but we get into motivation, really nature time. And then, we have all these other pieces of the model. You can look at it. First session is always it's actually a long session. We meet for a couple hours. We can always maybe schedule a phone conversation before that. If you're like, I'm not sure about this whole thing, but I want to just ask a few questions, you can definitely do that. Maybe 20 minutes. I'll put my number here somewhere. And then that first session, we not only do the whole intake, but then we do one of these mind-body practices. And usually by the second session, either I have to ask a little bit more to get clear on some things, or what you mean is like super clear immediately. We can just talk about it then and there, or we kind of have enough of a direction that we can say, all right, we're working on a joint health and like to be free of back pain and just feel good, right? So whatever it is. And all the while I try and let you do most of the work since it's a lot more powerful. And so like with reframing a goal, maybe it's like, oh, I have this pain and I don't want anything. It's like, no, okay. I want to have free flowing circulation. And that's the root cause of no pain. That's what we focus on in the training that skill, right? Um, we typically each appointment includes a health check-in, right? It's where we talk about your goals and we kind of unpack it a little bit, one step at a time. And that doesn't have to take very long. I mean, maybe 10 minutes. So the rest of the time, we just talk and like just get to know each other a bit. And then I can do a guided relaxation meditation. I think it's more powerful. I'll probably talk through some of the different Tai Chi, Qigong forms. I mean, we can just talk, just ask me anything, and just hang out and really educate. But one thing that definitely will be a part of what we do online is be Tai Chi Qigong. These are postural sciences. I think we already talked about it. That are going to work with the body. It's kind of like a guided self-hypnosis, so that not only are we integrating the conversation that we having, but it's teaching you how to be more relaxed, how to be more aware, how to watch these maybe self-defeating tendencies, and then be really grounded, really rooted in the place that's bigger than, and to really have that choice, right? And some people ask, well, why do we need 3 months, right? And I did talk about this already, but it's, we're working with habits. It took a long time to get the habits that maybe weren't helping us. And it takes a long time, maybe I still think much shorter time to get the habits that are going to be supporting us, really. So, yeah, so why do you need someone? It's just holding that container, right? Helping us be in harmony with the elements. This symbol is Ming. It's a Chinese word for destiny, sometimes translated as fate, but I really think it's destiny. It's like when you harmonize all of the elements necessary to health, you start to resonate like a tuning fork, like that thing, that mission that you uniquely are here to accomplish. Whether that's something that's just in your cells or something that you chose, or it's just the next most important thing that's coming up to you, and maybe is the entrance to deeper things. This is the me. That's how I say the me. And really, it's when we discover this, who we uniquely are, and we bring that into harmony with the world and what other people are needing. We find the balance between all of these things, and maybe we find people that support us, in a diversity of ways, while maintaining balance with the rest of life. That's when things just flow, right? So that's really, yeah, you see that all here. in the low, just that, right? So, I think we talked about this. You have the keys to healthy leadership here. And it's when you kind of master these, which is really what we want for all of our clients, right? Is to become the teacher, become the master. It's hard not for other people to start picking up on the internal process. And really what happens is people feel calmer and more themselves. And it's mostly because you're calmer and more yourself, right? So it's like that depth of connection that you have with you permits them to go a bit deeper into who they are. And this nice quote here is really about containing your wisdom until it's complete. So like, it just seems to be a natural phenomenon. Like when you're working on something, it's usually before you're actually finished fully embodying that people start to pick up on it, and they kind of want to know what's going on. And that's actually when you need to be more protective, right? So that's why they say, their curiosity turns to receptivity. And after the third inquiry, it's at the moment you speak when wisdom is complete. So just, wait till that third time. People, you just have to trust that people are going to continue to feel your momentum as it grows. And it's really important to maintain that even as all of these little pockets of people who kind of want to what you're growing, you really have to protect it like a child, right? A child needs that nutrition. And then at a certain point, it's ready, and there's more than enough to share. It's actually natural to share. It's at that moment when it's natural to share that it's become what you've acquired has become enough, and you can really share that. We also talked about this. This is just people are like, well, how long is it going to take? It's like, well, it depends on you, your experience, how much time you have each week to really process the work together. I call it a foundations program because you getting a foundation for life, right? You get some ideas of what needs to happen and what work is. And ideally, you have everything you need after that, right? But people have different degrees of support. So even after that, we're working together. I didn't even go over the structure of the program, weekly for a 3-month period of time. 14 weeks, maybe spread it out. See, I'm a little vulnerable talking about the program. It's like, as soon as I talk about something that deals with like that higher commitment, it's creating some resistance, right? Maybe in both of us, right? So stay with me, hear me out. So here's the model. This is actually a neurobiological model of change, although you hear it by different names in different traditions. Where it takes 30 days, 1 day to change your mind. We call this the gas body and anthroposophy. Some of you might be interested in that. 30 days to change the underlying mental emotional patterns. So This is literally the neural circuits of the brain. It's a Chinese medicine concept of the wall connecting vessels. These are like the smaller channels where your emotions are held. And then it's um, it's not the gas body, it's not the fluid body. Maybe it is the fluid body of the esophagus. I'm not sure. I have to come back. I have it written down since. It is. Oh, maybe it's not here. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's the astral body, the mental body. Okay. So it's like more the solid mental emotional body. 90 days to change the biorhythms. So this is, I know we just talked about this, but this is hormonal rhythms. They say it takes between 2 and 4 months to for the blood and the bone cells to turn over. And actually, this is, I love talking about this stuff because there is so much. You're seeing the same concept appear in different traditions that view the world and the body so differently. Let's see. So pulling up that document now. But in biomedicine, this is these are the networks of neuron that form the gray and the white matter of the brain. So that's how when they say meditation can change your brain, it's not just changing the individual connections, but actually changing the density of different areas of the brain and kind of remodeling it in a way. And you can see the same things happening at a biological level with the blood, with the quality of the hormones within it, the different levels, so that they're in a more functional place, right? And then they say it takes 1 year for the changes to settle into the body and be crystallized for life. This is when something has really become second nature. You might call it wisdom, mastery, deep learning. We see this idea of the Taoism. Even when my teacher presents it, he's like, it might sound weird, the spiritual fetus. This is really, you worked on something long enough that you now created a little pocket of higher you that you're drawing on, and that's kind of being channeled into the physical body, that you can continue to grow. That's why it's a spirit fetus. Like created this wonderful container of your best energy, the result of willpower in a container over time. And then now it's become something that can nourish you. So yeah. So the question at all is, why do I need a teacher? Why do I need a coach? And it's kind of because of this process. We build momentum, and then there's resistance, and then there's resistance. And every time we kind of surrender to this resistance versus noticing it and refocusing on, let's say, this blue arrow, it's very easy to, it's like maybe we don't start at the beginning, but we definitely lose a huge amount of value in that momentum. It's like if we could just stay on that blue arrow, we're really getting way more value out of life. And whatever we're kind of investing in the support we need to stay on it is nothing in comparison to the amount we gain from not constantly working against ourselves. And it's not having someone to help you is no guarantee that you're not going to do that, right? But it's more accountability so that you're not constantly backstepping, um, right? Without a direction, without somebody to help you feel that "Well, I didn't do my work this week, and I'm definitely paying for it," right? But that's why we have a deadline. That's why I have a program. It's like typically if people are like, all right, I'm already invested in this and I want to get the most out of it. And the way I get the most out of it is by putting in the work. Um, Kind of having that deadline makes it a lot more, um, yeah, just it's way more easy to actually do the work, right? So um, anything we've mastered, we already know this process intimately. It's just harder to master when we're trying to master other things. And with things like health or like habits that are so inside of us, yeah, maybe we could do it if that was all that was going on. Um, it definitely, yeah, helps. But, um, all right, I think we've mostly covered all the theoretical foundations of the program. I think something cool when we talk about this 90-day mark, we're talking about Chinese medicine concept of essence. It really is kind of a vital substance. Uh, and yeah, we just all I'm doing here is to say this really is a really integrative model. Um, and good. I think we already talked about this. So um, if we're online again, we're mostly working on the Tai Chi. And let's just talk about this program. So I do want to start by saying most health coaching ends up being like $400 a month. Um, Sometimes insurance covers it. Like I said, I'm not a typical health coach because I have this whole framework in mind, and we're not just working on the lifestyle, but we can talk about, learn Tai Chi, talk about acupressure. Um, oh, I think the thing that I forgot to mention, I mentioned it before, but when we working through the body and with the body, um, change can happen a lot more quickly, right? Um, so I think that's maybe why if you see a year and you're like, oh, I don't know about that, um, sometimes it really does take that long. For some people, it takes longer, but over we kind of after the 3 months, either just stop, we've got enough, uh, or even if you're not doing that, we can do shorter days. But really, this for the program, right? Or we reduce in frequency to something that kind of works with your needs. But it really depends. Like I'm here for your success, and I'll give you my honest opinion. And I really do think the hardest thing for me is really prioritizing my health, right? That's just a cultural thing, right? But it in the end comes back to this phrase that Ralph Waldo Emerson mentioned, the first health is wealth, right? And I think that's really true. It's like, are we really, when we prioritize that, there's natural radiance that comes to life. within us. And good. So this page is definitely always available to you to look at again. The program, and again, so yeah, we'll just say this. You can always sign up for the program later, but we can have our initial appointment, and then if you want to do the program, we can discount that initial appointment on the cost of the program. And how you do that, you just click make appointment, and then you'll schedule your first appointment in our system, and then and if you go to the relaxed alignment, called relaxed alignment, and it's literally just relaxing into the process that we have, and the success is kind of coming your way. And all you have to do is relax. And of course, you have to work on your alignment, right? That's where the effort is. But at least there's a path. At least we make it as easy as possible. Kind of doing 99% of the work. So just that 1% you put in is actually going like amplified. It's like you have one rice grain, and when you're growing that to the size of like that whole container, it's kind of like making kanji. You have 8 cups of water, 1 cup of rice. Overnight at low temperature, the rice expands, and it's really delicious. By the way, it's great breakfast item. You can put fruit in it, spices. Okay, let's get to the so this talk about pricing, but basically this includes a weekly visit once a week, a weekly appointment. The first appointment is 2 hours, and then we're 60, and then we've got after that, I think 60-minute appointments to a 90-minute kind of reinvestment appointment. So 60 minutes, we just get into, we talk a little bit, we revisit our goals, and then we do some of these practices, or we just talk about whatever seems to be coming up as important. And then the 90 minutes, we're kind of coming back to our goals and really reassessing. And then, good. We're online. We're mostly doing the Tai Chi. I can do kind of a guided meditation, or give you some pointers and sit down while you kind of self-guide yourself. We can do that. And we really just can, in that initial appointment, talk about what you're interested in and go from there, right? All right, we're going to get to pricing. So I would just saving that for the end, just because I want to share some comparisons. But typically health coaching is $400 a month, and with that, and that's definitely what I charge. So, but it's, and maybe I should charge more since I'm more training than a health coach, right? Work on that. Maybe I would charge 800. But I'm just starting out. I need testimonials in the public sphere, anyways. Done a lot of this work clinically or in private settings. I just haven't collected those testimonials, so that's kind of why I'm sitting here. And being able to offer things at the rates that I do, not only because I want things to be affordable, especially for the audience I'm working with here, but also since I'm just kind of building up my reviews. So, okay, so the whole program is $1,000. And that gets you the 12 appointments. I raised my eyebrows because I know I'm totally underselling myself. But again, like I said, it's for yeah, like it's really thought into what was going to be the right price for new clients who don't really have the reassurance of all the people that I've worked with in the past saying it really works, right? So that'll be you, and then I'll be charging people a bit more later on. After my first 10 clients, it's going to go up to 1,200. And then I will say the whole program versus an individual appointment saves you about $500. Again, I'm doing this because not just to short sell myself, but actually it's more fulfilling when we don't have to deal with all the other stuff and we're just kind of in a flow. This is what we're doing. This is our intention. And we just go with it, right? So I think that's it. We have 14 weeks to finish the program. So we have 12 appointments and we can spread that out over 14 weeks. Obviously, if you need to, we can do more, but I wouldn't recommend it because we start to lose momentum there. And really, the point is we want the work to go deep enough that you have a solid foundation, unbreakable foundation, right? You can reschedule individual appointments up to 24 hours in advance, but after that, any later, we just deal with the cancellation, and we hope you keep up with your practices that week without us. And that's just what we do. And then payment is all up front, unless you can really convince us that a month to month is something that you can do and that you really need this program. But I really, unless it's like 90% of the time, I just think it's better to get all that stuff out of the way. You're there, you're invested. It's better for you, it's better for me. So just plan, if you can, just plan on everything up front, unless you can make me very convincing arguments. And even then, there's no guarantee I could deny you. Not that I want to. It's just, yeah, it's just a matter of what I have to do for me as well. So, in sum, this is a great way to learn about the deeper aspects of our lineage through your own embodied experience. It offers a focused continuum for your healing, health, and growth, one that is rooted in research on what actually produces sustaining change. Great. So again, that's wishingwell.com, and then you can click anywhere, and that'll take you right to our page. And if you want to just schedule your first appointment, you're not ready for the package, you'll press proceed here, and you'll click a time. And let's see, let's do 11 a.m. And then you'll put in your contact information, and it will. So you have to do all that, and you will be asked to pay up front. I think on the next page. And that's if you're not sure about the relaxed alignment foundation. But if you are, you're like, okay, I'm definitely that's the right price, and I know it's way better than anywhere else right now. And trust this guy enough to give it a go. Then you're gonna click here, and then if there's no time there, reach out for me. I'm gonna open up some of these times here, and you'll schedule, put in your information, and put in your billing information, and we'll go from there. So good. And if you have any questions or you want to schedule a 20-minute call, you're not sure, or you're like, is this really a human being or some AI robot? Then we can talk. And you find my number all over my website. Let's just go back here. Here it is. 503-243-1291. We can just chat for a bit and go from there. Good. Well, I hope this video was enlightening. And just know I'm here for you. And I look forward to hearing from you. Capital U, sometime soon. And that's, and good. Be well.